We've gone years in the UK without using the right tools for the job. Long gone are the days of a razor blade in the mirror. No more shall we look like Sideshow Bob down there. Manscaped have redesigned the electric trimmer. Their engineering team have perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer created and have just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents because nobody wants a bloodbath in the bathroom. Did I tell you it's got waterproof technology so you can dim those lights, get yourself in the shower and groom to your heart's content? Whatever you do, however you do it with Manscaped's Lawnmower 3.0, and don't forget you can get 20% off and free delivery with the code TT. Manscaped.com. Make your testes their besties. Hello again, friends! And you are my friends. And let's start off with a big happy birthday to Mrs. Cruncher. Saint, as I call her, because she has to put up with him on a daily basis. And how she does it, I do not know. At least the WhatsApp group has a mute button. Anyway, welcome in, my friends. I'm pleased you can all join us. It is, of course, Monday. It is, of course, Talking Town's extra time. I see the chat is getting really busy. We've got a jam-packed show for you. We've got 2 transfers to talk about, some more Burton fallout to talk about, got Cheltenham to review tomorrow, fantasy football team names that have made us laugh this weekend, and of course the prediction league, and a goal from Trimley Red Devils. They won 7-0 at the weekend. They were the wild card, if you will remember, and yes, I've got a fantastic goal to show you courtesy of the Devils of Trimley, my hometown club. Never actually played from though. Always too good. Matt Stannard, welcome in. Good evening. Thank you so much for your donation on Ko-Fi, Matt. You've been it was a real godsend. So thank you ever so much. Looking forward to having a pint in the fan zone with you all this weekend. You can follow Matt's wonderful lead through our Ko-Fi channels. Donate as little as you want from £5 upwards. Set up monthly support. All of that sort of jazz. Many of you have, and we truly do thank you. Every single day. Jason Clay, and imagine next season it's going to be really boring, the transfer window, probably only 5 or 6 signings. I might get a holiday, Jason, if there's only going to be 5 or 6. Harry Butcher, yes, I did see that. A big shout out to ex-Town loanee, Burton Selena, who has today been given the all clear to return to training with his heart problem cured, which is absolutely fantastic to read, hear and see. So Burton, from us all at Talking Town, welcome back, and I hope you smash it this year. Just going to take the moth killer off the dog who's trying to chew it. That's probably not going to go well on a live show. Good evening, Stephen. Good evening, Mike. Another decent signing with some of our fans who will probably get battered after one game. Lots to discuss there. Stephen hopefully will join us at some point during the evening. Preston Pump Beep Beep. Best think we might look at Selena in January. We don't need him now, and he's several weeks behind. Mike D. Still a defensive midfield player for me. Could have done with one on Saturday to get into Burton. Interesting. Obviously, Tom Carroll arriving today. Welcome, Alex. I hope you're well. Got Cruncher in the room. Cruncher, it's your wife's birthday. What are you doing watching us? I mean, we are lovely on here, but really, it's your wife's birthday, son. Pop off and make her a cup of tea at the very least. James Reed, good evening, Martin. A big thank you to you and Colin for making time last Tuesday after the game to talk to myself and George. A pleasure to meet you face to face. James, it is our pleasure to meet you, and hopefully we'll see many more of you this Saturday at the fan zone. Sadly, one person who won't be with us, but he's making enough appearances now to earn an introduction. He is, of course, when you become a cultured platform, you get a bit of a va-va-voom. Tom James, our resident va-va-voom. How are you doing?
Bonjour, how are we doing?
Bonjour, Treacle. I'm doing very well, thank you. It's Monday. We've got some talking extra time. I've had a lovely meal. It's about meals offline, obviously. Ben's currently having his cardboard as we speak. You had fish and chips, but not from the chippy.
No, that was from Spoons. Bit dry.
That's not a bit dry. You want to put some tartar on it, love?
Yeah, a little bit of salt. The Ben special.
Ben special, yes. Yeah, salt. I don't often put salt in food. Do you often put salt in food?
Yeah, got to go on chips, innit? Chips and ketchup.
Yeah, no, not for me. Don't have salt on chip on anything, to be fair. Ben Moore's in the room. Welcome in. Ipswich Town is in the room. Welcome, Mr. Ipswich Town. Legendary. Look, Tom, obviously weekend's result wasn't great. We'll just touch on it briefly before we bring Ben in, who's waving frantically now he's finished that or he stubbed his toe. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, disappointing weekend. Did you manage to get to the game? Obviously, it was your sort of neck of the woods. I didn't ask you over the weekend. I probably should have done.
No, my family were actually visiting me this weekend, so I didn't actually get to go out with them and go to it like we did 2 years ago with my dad and brother. That's one of the best away days I've been to in many a year, Burton. And obviously we started in that Ipswich pub near the station and just did the crawl down to the ground, and it's a really good away day. But yeah, we didn't make it, and I caught bits of it, online and after the game, and there's some good bits, but there's a few players to pick out, and I'm sure we'll get into that as we go along.
We certainly will. I can't say, I don't think from memory I've ever been at Burton, but I may have blocked it out, or I may have been too drunk to remember it. There are times in my youth where it was a wild weekend. Matt Stannard, he slipped on the salt. He was chucking around last week. Well, he's ready. The king of analogies. I'm sure he's going to have a few tonight. He's getting a lot of stick in yesterday's live chat in regards to his Paul Cook prediction. But he is, of course, our milk tray man. He's Ben Ad. If Tom James is our culture, Ben Adams is whatever the opposite of that is. Ben, welcome in. How you doing?
Very good. I put salt on everything. I wish I had salt on this vegan pizza. I should ask the Portsmouth fans if they've got any more salt left to give. But I probably don't think they do.
As Ollie says, Portsmouth can't get enough salt. How many likes are we going for tonight then, chaps? Ben, I think I've asked you previously. I will ask TJ this evening. TJ, to give you a little bit of a flavour of the proceedings. Right now on YouTube, we have 120 people watching us. So how many likes would you like from the YouTube platform, sir?
83, please.
83 likes on tonight's show. Let's smash it. I want to have 83 from 120 by... Whoa. 10-2? Come on, guys and girls. We can do that. Nice and easy.
Smash it.
Absolutely. Manolos, welcome in. New name. I've not seen that before. We just need that one last statement signing, and then we should be done. Viva the town. Jeremy Lowe, we can't expect to put a whole new team together and expect them to win straight away. The team's got to gel. Andrew, I've got gel in my hair tonight. Just to keep it on point.
Good.
Cheers, man. Cheers, man. Although as I'm getting older, it's getting further and further up my forehead. It started here at one point, and I just...
Yeah, welcome to my world. Yeah.
I can see that, Ben, to be fair. Dominic, stop throwing the salt on the floor. Your wife must have hated you doing that. Yes, do tell the guys and girls at home, Ben, how your good lady wife reacted to you throwing salt on the floor.
She was quite cross until she kind of watched the podcast back with me. And then she saw it was actually quite kind of in context. I explained why we were chucking salt around. That conversation took about 25 minutes because she doesn't follow football. And then she just told me to get the Henry out. So that was the end of that conversation and evening subsequently, funnily enough.
James Reed, have you heard anything about Norwood interest from Tranmere? They want to take him back. Well, there you go. I have been saying all summer, I don't think he'll be here come close of play. I don't know if the injury is going to affect that or not, but we shall see. Let's start on new signing. Tom Carroll, 29 years of age. Free transfer. Was it QPR last season? Played 22 games. He's a midfield player. A wand of a left foot, says my Spurs friend, but not the greatest of tackler. On trial at Derby. Derby can't sign a Well, they couldn't buy a pen at the moment, let's be honest. So he didn't go to the derby. He turned down his contract extension at QPR, I read. Interesting. Where are you two on this one? Tom, I'll ask you to kick us off on this one. Tom Carroll, 29. Where are you on that one?
I'm glad it's a year's deal. 3 goals in 188 games. It's not exciting. If he's got a wonderful left foot, then I'd rather see that, putting some goals in somewhere. Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. I think a year is probably good for both parties. If he gets his career back on track, great. Then he'll probably get us up in the process. Give it till January. You could always extend it if it's suiting both parties. But I really don't know. I've heard of him, but I've just not. Obviously, he's been injured for the past 2 years or so. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's fair to be. Fair to be. He gets a mixed reaction whenever I speak to people about him, QPR fans, Spurs fans, or whatever. He gets that little bit of what you just sort of said there. A lot of ability, Ben, but struggles at times to put it all together. Can play a holding midfielder role or play further up the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think who he's going to kind of be battling with. Probably Rucking Harper and Lee Evans for kind of one of the 2 central midfield spots. So obviously the big question is the injuries, and everyone's kind of gone a bit nuts about he's an injured player. Well, he wouldn't be an Ipswich Town player if he's not injured. We've just had a whole load of players through the door, and 7 of them are injured. So that's by the by. That's a separate thing. But I think looking back into it, only one of his injuries was major. The other one was a kind of a minor, niggly one. But I think he can do a job. He went to the Swans for $4.5 million in 2017. So there's obviously something there, and people have been willing to pay for it. I just hope it's not one of those last throw of the dice for your careers, where you come to town. But I don't know, the way we've been kind of acquiring our players, we're now going for a certain standard. So they obviously know something that we don't, and you've just got to kind of trust that. So I'm excited. It's competition. And competition is a great thing. And what Cook said in the last game, you make mistakes, you're out the team. Of course, in order to do that, you need people to replace them with. So I think that's what he's done. I think he's been brought in, if it's a brilliant bit of tacticianing, brought in to make others better. So if you don't start, he will. So, yeah, I'm up for it.
You light a fire under people's feet, as it were. And, like the weekend, for example, maybe you could look at it. I think we've got different opinions in terms of the midfield of who was at fault or who wasn't at fault. Harper, Evans, neither, whatever. But up until recently, it was always, you got Harper and Evans starting because you've got no one else behind them.
Yeah.
This gives you a little bit of insurance, Tom. He has had injuries, but then that year's deal, that also lights a fire under his feet. Because go on.
It should do. It should be the whole Norwood complex. He's got a year left. This should be the season he really ignites and comes good. And now he's injured. But so we just don't need the same from Carroll. If he can pick it up, from what I've read about him, I can't say I'm an expert on the guy, but it sounds like he's a very good or an incredible signing for League One. So that sounds good. If he does the business, then great. I'm sure he's not cheap. But
wages wise, he probably isn't. No, but as I said earlier to somebody, it's not my money. I couldn't care if he's being paid £1 million. I ain't paying the bill at the end of the week. I just hope that he gets our football club promoted, and I think he's a really good player at this level. I like him, and when you're looking into his stats, 151 games from the centre midfield, 8 goals, 18 assists. That's where he's played predominantly in his career, the central midfield. He can play hold midfield, he can play left midfield, but he plays predominantly in the centre, and he just fits the versatile, which is a big word of Paul Cook's squad, Ben. Versatile. You look at a number of the players, all the players, in fact, they can all play. Even the centre half, will come to in a second, can play 2, 3, 4 positions.
That's right, but Paul Cook only tends to play one formation, 2 of his 4. So it's all very well having versatile players, but then of course, in order to utilise the best of that, you have to have a versatile formation switch throughout the game. Now we're probably going to count on one hand the amount of times we're going to see a 4-4-2, for example, or 2 up front. So great, versatile players, and you've got to play them with versatility. Yes. So I just hope they don't get these great players in a very rigid kind of formations going throughout the season. Because the one complaint I could have so far about Paul Cook is he doesn't tend to, I don't think he changes the game quick enough to kind of match the game that's in front of him. He rigidly sticks with that kind of, his one up front and his kind of diamond and flying wing backs. So I hope that he's brought this in. The argument could be, I don't have the players to do that. Well, okay, now you do. So over to you.
Yeah, and I did say on Tuesday show last week after the Newport game, I said whoever comes in has to be on a short-term contract because Humphreys, Cameron Humphreys, will be ready within a year, 2 years max. So whoever comes in has to be short-term, and I like this deal because of that. I like it because, as Ashley Bell rightly says in the comments here, we're all saying what a great player for this level he is, and he's not even a guaranteed starter because of the other top players we've already got. Which, this time last year would have been drooling over Tom Carroll being a starting player. If he can stay fit, what a player. Whereas now you're looking at thinking, if I can get 22 games out of him, what QPR got last year, which, by the way, as Kingy also says, TJ, Warburton wanted him to stay, and Warburton's no Mickey Mouse manager. If you can get 22 games out of him in this league, he should piss it up, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I think he definitely can contribute. He's just got to not pick up any more big injuries and do his bit. I think that's what we're going to expect, like I was saying earlier from Norwood, is if we get probably half the games out of him, he'll do a job, but we've probably got better strikers there, as we've got better central midfielders there. So he'll just play his part in the team. It's fine, come off the bench, change it a bit. But yeah, I hope he does well. Yeah,
absolutely. Right, second signing. Cameron Burgess from Accra Stanley, the Man Mountain. He's a big boy, a big old boy. He's coming in. Paul Cookie has said he's going to start tomorrow night. No wasting time here, Ben. Going straight in.
Do you know what? That's so massive of him to say that, and quite unlike Cook actually, because he doesn't tend to give a lot away. But that says more. That says less about Carroll and more about who he's going to replace. So it's literally like, I'm going to sign you. You've never played in the team before. I've only seen you watch. I think Paul Cook went to watch him play about a month ago. And who's he going to replace? I think it was our summer up in the chat about 5 minutes ago. Who did he replace? It's got to be Wolfenden for me. Got to be Wolfenden. He's he was pedestrian as far as I'm concerned. We have a different opinion. But look, we know that we've got that great midfield now. We've got great wingers. We have an attacking force that other teams would just be drawing over. But we are being undone again and again by silly mistakes at the back. So I quite agree with that assessment by Paul Cook. You stick him straight in because it sure as hell can't get any worse than what it is right now. Well, these silly little goals that we're conceding, that's costing us. That's 5 points. That 5 points at the end of the season could be the difference between us going up or not, or getting in the playoffs or not. Who knows? So, yeah, good on Cook. Get him straight in. Put the fire under someone.
Would it surprise you, Ben, if I told you that Luke Wolfenden tops the division with the higher interception rate than anyone else?
Good for him. The goals are still going through him. I don't care if you intercept 100 balls. If you let one or two through stupidly, I don't care. I'd rather you intercept none and stop the ones coming at you. So that's not a thing for me. For me, he's taken a step back when I would say that he's this young, he knows the team. He's here. He doesn't need gelling. He knows the culture. He's done the role before. This should be the season where he's thinking, oh my God, they're bringing in incredible players. I've got to be the top of my game every week. I think he ran back. You see the goal. He ran back, which is a very Ipswich thing to do. Ran back, bang through him. You can't do that in this division. They'll shithouse you.
Absolutely. All right, Tom, before I get your thoughts, a few thoughts from the chat, and then I'll throw the link out and we'll see what the fans have got to say about Burgess and Carroll. We've got Neil Post, his calls available tomorrow. I think he should be. Mike D, looking forward to seeing the Mountain and the Fridge. Yes, there are 2 centre-halves. Sounds like an NFL back line, that. The Mountain and the Fridge. Josh Russell, can't wait to see Burgess in action. Big Al, welcoming Big Al. Does anyone know what squad number Carroll's been given? I do not know that at the moment.
No, he hasn't been given one yet, has he? No.
Ollie, it was Derby vs Ravages. I think we watched him in. Mike D. Wolfenden switches off too much. With his laid-back style, he's a target from the fans. Must cut out mistakes. John Warren, you defend from the front. That first goal that Saturday started 10 yards in the opposition's half.
It did, but then it went 20 yards in our half, and that's a bit I don't like.
It did. Mark Rattle, Wolfie may do better with Burgess beside him. I think in reality, Tom, the 2 centre-halves that played Saturday, in fact, any centre-half that's played so far this season isn't our first choice centre-half now. It's Burgess and Edmondson, surely.
It will be, yeah. I think Danassian's been perfectly competent and he doesn't deserve as much stick as Wolfie does. And I think, Wolfie needs a massive kick up the arse because if he doesn't pull it out this season, I think he'll be gone. He's been given a very good chance after the past 2 years. Started well, first time he went down, second year, nothing. He's really got to pull it out. Otherwise, he'll be shown the door probably in January if he doesn't really get going with it. Yeah.
I mean, both centre-halves, but in general, Wolfenden, This club is now way, 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 way ahead of where we ever thought we ever were going to be in terms of market spend and market ability at the moment. It's what we're seeing on paper, what we're seeing in action. If you said to me tomorrow, Wolfenden's gone out on loan to Swindon with the view to a permanent, I wouldn't cry. I'd be like, that's a shame. But this club's going in a different stratosphere, you hope, right, Tom? And players like Wolfenden just
I'd
kick
like
on or don't get out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd like to keep him because I know he can do it in this division, but it's just whether his mindset is there and he can keep up with basically what you just said, this input that we've got now, whether he wants to go on that journey or whether his expectations or his ambitions are just lower than what we are now, which is where we were 2 years ago. We were a League One club and that's how we felt. So we're not like that anymore.
It's there in front of him. Whatever happens in terms of 1 and 2, whether it's Burgess and Edmondson or Burgess and Donation or whoever, it's there in front of him to just put his head down and work on his football. Don't worry about haircuts or boots or meal deals or pro deals or milkshake deals or any sort of deals. Just worry about the grass and playing football. Don't worry.
He's got to look. He's got to look at the professionals of last year who started every single game, and they're all now playing their trade in the bottom half of League Two. And he escaped the bomb squad. He was one of the ones that actually got away from it because okay, fair enough. There's something. So look at the people that were starting every week, and the people you could argue I think were better than Wolfenden. I don't include Chambers in that, but the people who are potentially better than him, they're now in League Two. They had their chance and they got binned. So he's got to be thinking, right, do I want to be number 28 out the door? No, I don't. I want to be part of this. I want to be part of a championship team next year and do everything I can to guarantee my place. It's just, it looks like the attitude, although we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. It might just be his body language. But you could just see, I have the same thing with Downs. It was, I just don't think his heart and his head is in the same direction, kind of wanting to be here. So maybe for Wolfenden's career, a change could actually be a really good thing, like I really hope it is for Downs.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we go any further, Joe Dickerson has put in a Mackie D's request. He's off to Mackie, so put your orders in. I'll have a... Oh, they still doing big tasties? If they're doing a big taster, one of those. If not, just a vanilla milkshake for me, please, Joe. T, what do you fancy from Mackie's now? Joe's on the way there.
Strawberry milkshake, chips, and a Big Mac for me, please.
A strong performance. I know Ben's just eating, so I won't ask him. However, I will ask you, Ben. Cruncher says we should be talking about KVY. Nowhere near the player of 18 months ago.
True.
Atkins schooled him Saturday.
Yeah.
What do you think about KVY? Let's talk about him then.
Right, so I sent you my team over for the next game. I'd drop him for, if he's fit, I'll drop him for Burns. I'll put Burns and get a bit of energy down the right-hand side, move Barry up onto the right side, Edwards on the left side, and I think, KVY needs a break or a kick up the arse. I don't know which one it is yet, but he's tracking back. Like he's chasing these players going past him now, and I don't get it. I don't know what's happened to him, but it's like the comments are saying he's lost that yard of pace and he doesn't look the same. But it's only 2 games, and that might come with more time because he has been out for nearly 2 years. So we need.
Sorry, go on, finish. Sorry.
No, we need to afford him that because we know the ability should be there, but at the minute we need to play our best team, and I don't think he's in it just yet. No,
he was struggling as well. Actually, to add on to your point at Millwall, I did the show after the game with Sid, and I said it's something when KVY is not your best player or even your top 6. He was struggling that day. Looking back on that, Carl Brooks says Wolf is going out on loan. Go get your confidence back. Go to that team that defends more than attacks, so he can't switch off. Neil would stick with KVY, whereas beat, press the pump. He's struggling. Steve, welcome in. KVY struggling.
Steve,
what are you saying, Steve?
It's not necessarily. I don't know whether he's struggling or whether he's not fully got over his injury yet. He's still a talented lad, and at the end of the day, he's got a lot to offer. I'm not saying let's bin him off. I'm not going that wild. I just think especially when that ball went for Makins, he probably wouldn't have caught it. But even if he was 10, 15 yards further back, he wouldn't have caught it. And this is like a 30-yard roll. He's struggling. He has lost a bit of air. Yeah, we've seen it going forward when he's trying to take people on. He's reluctant to take them on because I don't think he's confident he can get past them. So he's like looking for a pass rather than going round them. I just think, just as a temporary measure, even if it's just a Premiership loan, just get somebody in just to give that bit of competition. But at the end of the day, I think we're virtually covered all over the field. You know, we just need a little bit of competition in maybe one or two spots. You know, right back being one. We've got cover for Coulson. You know, to give him a G up. You know, we can use Burns, but then that weakens us at right wing because we've got very few. You know, if a Luca doesn't.
What's your opinion? What do you think about? It's been said in the chat. I think Nathan and Neil Perks, and they said on his day the best right back in the league, maybe concerned with re-injuries, and Nathan above him probably nervous of picking up the same injury. You've actually got to think that's actually quite a good point because I remember the player that ran 25 yards, cut in 25 yards, and scored from 25 yards. It was the most glorious goal I've seen since probably 2009. And he's thinking, yeah, where's that player gone? But maybe he's petrified. He's like, I've got the ability to be in this brand new team. This is my level, but I'm terrified. One little turn, I'm out for 8 months. You know.
Oh, right. At the end of the day, we've never been professional footballers. We don't understand what it's like to come back from an cruciate ligament injury or whatever it was, you know, and then say, well, I've got to do this, this, and this. But always have it in the back of your mind. It could happen again. And this time it could be worse, and this time my job could be gone. You know, that must be terrifying. And I can understand that, you know. So that's why a little bit of extra cover, just to dip him in and say, look, while you're coming back, this person's here. If you need him, he's here. We can dip you out, dip somebody else in, and the team's fine. So that it's not as much pressure on him to perform day in, day out. Because I prefer Danassian at centre-back, to be honest. I don't, in this system, Danassian...
I agree with that.
Yeah. In this system, as a right back, Danassian does not fit. And at the moment, all the pressure is on KVY to perform. And that's a lot of pressure just on one person. It's the only position where there's just that one person to do it. I know we can say, like I said, Burns can come back. But the moment Burns is injured, we don't know when he's back. You know, if a Luco doesn't pep up or Barry doesn't perform well at right, everybody be crying for Burns to go back to right wing. Yeah. You know, so there's a lot of pressure on that one person to perform week in, week out, especially after he's just come back from injury. And I'm thinking, like, well, it might be a bit too much, I think. If we just get him just a Premier League loan, nothing flashy or fantastic, just someone who can run the channels, a bit like, you know, I was having this discussion, a bit like Matheson, you know. And I didn't think Matheson, I don't know whether he's any good. You know,
we never saw him.
I know, but he might have just been a one-season wonder. It was a discussion I was having earlier about having someone like that just coming in just to give him take a bit of pressure off him, so that if ever he's feeling it, rather than him break down again, he can just have a doubt.
Well, I think the way the squad's being built, Steve, I think the way the squad's being built is that's Burns. Burns moves back into a right-sided position, and then you've got a number of attacking options that can take Burns' place. And that wouldn't be, at this current moment in time, the KVY we all know and remember, Burns is a huge drop-off, in my opinion. But we aren't getting the KVY we all remember. So at the moment, it's no drop-off whatsoever. And maybe he just needs looking after. Maybe he needs, you know, he's played every game since the pre-season, and to a lot of players, TJ, that's nothing. But to KVY, maybe he just needs, you know, a breather, excluding Newport, that is. He just needs a breather. Maybe he just needs time, you know, needs fans not perhaps looking at him with that lens of pressure, because he is
the trouble is he was the diamond in the rough, wasn't he? He was like, we were devastated when he came back, and we were you know, renewing TWTD on Google to see when he's going to come back or get a thing of it. So the expectation from him is massive. He was the shining star in a shovel of shit. But now, you know, I think there's still that expectation from him, but I think that can be. I think we need to just spread that around a little bit and give him that time. I think there's a hell of a player there when he's fit and confident. I think he'll be up there with the best of what we've actually purchased. So he's a good bloke. He's a great talent, nice guy by all accounts, and I'm rooting for him just to hit that form again. I think he's terrific.
Absolutely. Neil Warmore. Hang on, Steve. Neil Warmore. KV Boy's been out for months and months. Takes time to get up to speed. He's had 2 years, hardly of any football. And then Ian Peters, KV is looking for free kicks against more rather than going past players. Conference, I think, at the moment. Do you know what, Steve? There is over 100 people watching this that haven't yet hit the like button. Do you know how surprising does that make you? I mean, come on.
I've hit mine. That's all I can say.
Good man. Now, Burgess and Carroll. What are your thoughts on that? On those two?
Well, Burgess, what is he, 6'4"? We
and
got
the rest.
Edmondson 6'3". Good luck getting over that. Put it that way. At the end of the day, it's what we've been asking for. We've been sat here going, we want two relatively young defenders, one who can head the ball, one who can pass the ball. And we've been asking for that. We end up getting 31-year-old Wilson who can head the ball. Wolfenden, we're not quite sure what he does. They try, but like I said, I'm surprised Wolfenden wasn't in the bomb squad, to be honest, because he's not good enough. The amount of mistakes he's made so far this season, the amount of points he's cost us so far this season, the 3 games, and he's already played. I'm not saying it's all on him. It's not. And he did play well against what's the name? Against Burton. And it's not. It can't all be laid at his door. Look, Danassian's not even a centre back, and he looks better. And,
Great point. Great point.
Wolfenden's supposed to be a centre back, and he's being outshone by a rabbit. Look, when that's the situation, you say, well, there's something wrong. You shouldn't be outshone by a right back. And yes, I know Lambert turned around and said when Danassian was at Villa, he was a centre back, but nobody else has ever played him as a centre back. Every time he's gone out on loan, he's been a right back, or a left back. He's never been played in a centre back, and he looks better than Wolfenden. As far as Carroll goes, that's just a no-brainer. The simple fact is, he doesn't score many, but he's not the guy who does score any. He's the guy who passes to the wide player who gets the assist for somebody else to score. He's the Dizel. He's an older Dizel. He will find.
God, I hope not.
He will find.
He means more cultured. He means more.
He will find that miracle ball that nobody else saw.
Right.
Whether it's to a winger, whether it's to a striker, and then that's where the goal will come from. So
on a more important note, where's your beard gone? You're looking very clean shaved tonight.
I had to shave it off when I went out to the rock festival because my missus was better. Fair enough.
Steve, we love you. Look after yourself. Stay well, stay healthy. Hopefully see you tomorrow through the match day ticket. Simon Harris, only time will tell on distribution from the back. Don't want to see a lump anywhere. Don't want to see lump it anywhere football. Andrew Harris and Lambert, you play well, you keep the shirt. Hawks, for one, like Steve, who is the best pumper in the ITFC squad? I'm sure he'll be answering that in the chat in a second there, Hawks. Ben Moore, his confidence was fucked. The game now is all on confidence. Give Wolf some time out the side or play a back three. People say Cook plays 4-2-3-1, but he must adapt. We can adopt if we like, but we'll adapt this time. If we can play a 3-5-2. There you go, Dominic Mann. There was a joke for your son. Now hit the like button and do as you're told. Right. Carl Brooks. I'm so good. Burgess will be a threat in both boxes. He's got the presence he can defend. Can't wait to see him play. Go, Colin.
Hey, Colin.
Ben, man.
How are you, son?
DJ, all right?
Are you doing all right?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. A bit of funny day today because the mum's not been too brilliant and nearly 98.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been trying to sort one or two things out today. So it's been one of those days on the phone to those people who don't really know how to speak to you on the phone, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we're getting there.
It's my brother again. Oh, you should stop doing that. Right, anyway, moving on. What do you make? I hope your mum feels well. It feels better soon, Colin. I really do.
Yeah, all love to your mum, Colin.
Absolutely. Hawks, the man, the myth, the legend, the GOAT, Colin Plum, here to impart wisdom on Tom Carroll, Cameron Burgess. What do you make of the pair?
Well, if I start with Burgess first, because obviously today I've been out and about and phone calls and all this, that and the other, so I've read one or two things about him. And I suppose my only concern, one and only concern would be what I read, and the little bit I read is that he's had one or two injuries again, like one or two others that we signed. But hopefully, they've all cleared up. And as a player, I mean, I can remember seeing him once or twice for Spurs and that, and he's definitely a ball player, definitely a player that I like, somebody who plays it through the midfield, plays forwards, as opposed to playing sideways, crab-like football. He likes to pass. there's one or two other clubs after him. Obviously, we all know Derby, Pompey, whatever. So I'm more than happy with the fact, on a 1-year deal, like Rich said a little while ago. I think it's a no-brainer, really. Going on to Burgess, very, very excited about this signing, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, Martin, it's something that we really, really need more than anything else. Height, a ball playing centre half. Been told that he's definitely going to start tomorrow night, which is interesting. Considering I'm going, so I'm more than interested to see him play tomorrow night. Just a question, Martin, on the Edmondson thing. Does anybody know when he might be considered starting?
Hopefully tomorrow. I mean, if you think Burgess, who we know because Coleman, the Accrington Stanley manager, has told us he's been playing through the pain barrier. If we're signing him and he's coming straight in for tomorrow night, that just gives me a warning sign in terms of Edmondson, because he's walking. He's not like he's had a really gruesome injury and he's got a leg in a boot. So I'm not sure what the situation there is. Ben, what do you think on that? Because obviously we know about Burgess and the pain barrier being met through Coleman. So does that raise bigger question marks for you in terms of Edmondson?
I don't know.
That's right, Suffolk. That was. I don't know about.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I need to see the guy first. I mean, I'm concerned he's had an injury, and my big thing of Ipswich is injuries. You know me. That's just where I think seasons are won and lost, no matter who you've got in. I don't know. It's a bit of a wing and a prayer for me, but it can't be any worse than what we've seen in the last 2 years. It's a leap of faith one for me. A leap of faith with massive potential. And you've just got to hope that whatever staff, this is where we see how good the staff acquisition is for player fitness and conditioning. So if they're as half as good as what they're sold to be, then there shouldn't be much of a concern at all. Although it does concern me, we currently have 7 players out altogether. So I don't know. Jury's out for me. Don't really have an opinion either way.
Most aerial duels won, Colin, Cameron Burgess. Is he finally the missing piece in the terms of last 2 seasons? We've really struggled with the Akinfenwa types, the bullies, the tough men up top. Is this finally a centre-half that can eat glass, as I like to say, a man that's going to really scare children?
I think so. We can only go on. I mean, I've not seen him play loads of times, so obviously I can't judge. But going on what they say about his height, what he's like in the air, he likes to play it out with his left foot. Apparently,
he does.
I'm not going to go absolutely crazy and say Terry Butcher, but he's.
Wait, isn't it play yet, Colin?
No. Let me finish, Mark. But he sounds like Frank Butcher. He sounds like a bit of a Terry Butcher-esque kind of player. Good in the air, plays it out left footed. A Terry Butcher-esque player. And if he's a quarter as good as Terry, he'll be very good in this league.
It'll be about that.
I just hope it is Terry Butcher. And not Pat
Martin, by the way, there's 1 or 2 people put on the chat about Tommy Carroll hadn't got a squad number. It came straight to my mind. Give him number 2, because Tommy Carroll, rest in peace, wore number 2. So that'd be a nice little gesture.
Yeah, I like that idea. Stick it into the clubs, because I'm sure they probably won't have thought of it. That's a good idea, that Colin. Nathan, loads of teams will come to Portman Road and lump it up the pitch. So we now have someone who can win the headers.
He's making some really good points tonight, Nathan. That's a really good point, actually, because as we've seen what teams are going to do to us and are going to lump it up. And it's good old-fashioned shithousery, and I don't mind it, because that's how you beat the bigger teams in any league you're in. So to have that height at the back, that's actually a very good point.
He's been given number 25. Sorry, Ben, just cut across you.
Oh, Okay.
Number 25. So,
Okay.
so it was a good idea there, Colin, but no one at the club would have known what you were talking about. Let's be honest. They're all too young.
Yeah.
You got to get this. What are you got to do, Colin? Get yourself on Twitter and get in those DMs of the football club. Constantly
Stay
in
away from the
DMs.
trenches, Colin. You're too good for it.
Just get in the
tarnish
DMs.
don't tarnish your soul. Stay
Oh,
with
right.
it.
In the DMs. Right, Colin. It's been a real pleasure as always. Look after yourself and hopefully speak to you tomorrow evening after the game for the match day ticket. Look after yourself, though, Colin.
You going Saturday, Colin?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Well, I'll buy a pint, Colin. I'll see you there.
Lovely. Cheers, Ben.
Good man.
Take
See you
care.
then,
Bye,
Colin.
Jay.
Thanks, mate. Thank you, mate. Yeah, hopefully we'll have him on tomorrow night. Obviously got match day ticket live, pre-game, post-game. The game is on iFollow for those watching at home that aren't going to Cheltenham. I'm one of them. Carl Brooks, Morecambe dumped it forwards to Stockton, and neither Wolfie or Toto dealt with him. Seems at this level of a long ball, Burgess will eat them up. Moving on to Burton. So obviously it was a disappointing result. I say we dominated, although a Burton fan in the comments of yesterday's show disagreed. We had all the ball, but didn't dominate. Well, if you've got the ball, you're dominating. But okay, well, I'm waiting for him to come back to me with that because I asked him what he meant. But it's an interesting back and forth that you get on YouTube and Twitter. But how did you two both see it? Ben, I'll ask you first.
Well, I watched it back on the old iFollow, and I've got to say we did dominate possession, but that's about it really. I just saw a glimpse of what another 44 teams are going to be doing to us, and we're going to play better than almost every team. I just hope that's we haven't only bought that. We there were bits we thought, wow, this is different. Holy Christ, if this is a step up from last season, I wouldn't even dream this would be happening, and then we go and concede. So I hope that's not all we've bought. I don't want to look beautiful on the way to a sort of an 8th place finish. Penny worries me.
He'll be out. Of course.
Yeah, the jury's out on him. Penny for me is a little large. He's a Benton Shefke for me. You need someone next to him to make him good. You need him playing off each other, and he won a lot of balls where he was kind of head on to people. He's not an upfront player, I don't think, on his own. I just don't see it. So very disappointed. It's another game where people ask questions of Paul Cook, myself included. But I think you can ask the questions because, look, we've paid the money, we've bought the players. Now we just got to win. Just win. Buy some gel, fucking win. That's it. Don't care. Shit house it. Win.
I'll come back to your cookie comments. Tom Burton yesterday got Matt Stanley not sure of the ball. Think the guy doing the long throws had it for large majority of the game. Took an age. James didn't understand why Pickett didn't take the penalty. Coulson was more of a wide player. I think he'll play left back though. Beep. How did you see it at the weekend, TJ? So you didn't watch the game first time. I'm sure you've seen the highlights or the full replay on iFollow the next day. Who stood out for you? Let's go through some positives before we go to Ben's negative sandwich. Who stood out for you?
Edwards, when he came on, was really pleased to see how direct he could be, and he just cracked a shot, hit the bar. Thought that's something that we actually need. It's kind of Selena-esque in a way, which is really nice. So I think we should be starting with these players and really taking the teams on, just getting into them, then getting some more subs on. I was a bit concerned about the bench on Saturday, to be honest. I thought it looked a bit lightweight. I saw Jackson on there. Went, what the hell's going on? But
yeah, no one gets that. No one gets it.
So
weird.
Yeah, it looked a bit weak to me. So I wasn't very inspired by that. But yeah, no one really stood out. For Evans ball in for the own goal was good, but again, I thought the defence was lackluster, mainly Wolfie and KVY at times. I'm just going to give KVY time to get into it because he doesn't deserve that much flack, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, just uninspired. I can see the seeds of progress, and we're definitely better than a Lambert team, but we're just not there yet. And I think a commanding centre back or two will help that a lot because as soon as teams attack us, we just look a bit scared, and we just need a bit of a calming influence, and then let our attackers do their job. But yeah, I'd like to see Piggott rested for a game, Bon up top to start with, maybe swap that round and see how they do. Different energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get actually it's probably all quite accurate there. That's probably quite an accurate little way of looking at the game, TJ. I think Evans' ball in was a great ball. We've not had that sort of delivery from a set piece in a long time. And I do feel, though, and I hesitated to say this at the start, which is why I hesitated with my words. I feel like Jon Snow in that gif when he's got all those horseback men riding towards him. He draws his sword. Whenever I see Caden Jackson on the bench, that's what I feel like. I feel like I'm his last defender because I didn't mind him sat on the bench Saturday. I think there somewhere in there is a nice little play out for the last 10 minutes away from home. He's got one thing defenders hate. And
based on what?
Based on the fact he's got pace. He's got pace, and defenders hate the word pace because if you haven't got it,
so's a rabbit that runs across a pitch. I'd rather have the rabbit.
And he scored goals at this level. He has scored goals at this football level.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, Tom Carroll been him already.
Nah, he's the unknown. I'm done with the known. We know him. Done it, seen it.
Jon Snow again, drawing that sword out. I'm ready for the Jackson.
Winter's coming.
That being said, I probably would still drive him to a destination he'd like to go to. I'm just not as upset as seeing his face as everybody else is. Ben, you got a lot of flack in the chat yesterday for saying you're going to give Cookie 8 games, which to a lot of people seemed not a lot of time. 8 games.
We haven't got time. The trouble is when you overpromise, you got to over-deliver. And we've been saying we're gonna buy the best players. It's the one thing that come down to me. I said it on the show. The one thing: my teams will not stop running for 90 minutes, no matter what happens in the worst conditions at the shittiest grounds against the worst opposition. My teams will not stop running with down tools at 78 minutes. Down tools. Everyone's seen it. I watched the replay again because me and Crunch are going backwards and forwards a bit. So what game are you watching? Well, I watched it again actually. And we down tools, stop running, stop trying, stop tracking. We just went down to the level where I couldn't see a difference between last season. That worries me. Now I'm not a cook-outer at all because I really like the guy, and I'm so desperate for him to do well that I put 480 quid of my own money to back that. We've put our money where our mouth is, but the season disappears, the season goes. The points that we're looking at, it's September. Oh, come. Yeah, then it's October. Oh, it's November. Come on, then it's December. If we're not quite where we are, well, we've got another transfer window now, and now he really knows his squad. How long do you give it? We don't have the time. We've spent the money. We've got everything in. We have to do it now. And I said this last season because I saw it bloody coming. We all knew it was going to be a massive turnaround, and it has been. And we didn't get any new manager bounce. This is exactly what Kate was saying on yesterday, and she's absolutely correct. We didn't get any manager bounce. Every other team does it. Why? We've won under 20% of the games he's been a part of now. I haven't got the chat on right now on my side because I know it's going to be being tore up probably. But he has got to start winning. Yeah, okay, get gel. Yeah, okay, get the players in. Yeah, okay, get all the players out. Yeah, okay, get the tactics right. Get the conditioning. Blah, 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 blah. Win tomorrow. Do it. Sunderland had massive changes. They're winning. Win. I don't care.
Just win. Okay.
Just win.
Just win. Nathan, what I love is this team is that we go down 1-0, they can get a goal back. Last season we couldn't have done that, which is absolutely spot on. Matt Stannard. So is TJ or Ben Ygritte? You know nothing, Jon Snow. I'll let you decide. Dom, thinking about injuries and fitness. I know some background staff have changed. Have the facilities had time to be updated yet? Possibly not. Things like ground softness can even play a part in some of the injuries we're having, particularly hamstrings. James Reed, Jackson on the bench again, only because Nord is not fit. Fair point. Lee Anderson, Ben does have a point. Demolition Man needs to deliver. Cruncher, Downing Tools, talking out your ass, Ben.
They did. Everyone saw it. We probably saw more of the game than you did. You were down at one end. I don't know. We were watching on the pitch.
Mike D, owners have said it may not happen this season. Cook has the season. Stephen Parry, not about games, it's about where we are in the league. If we're in contention at 10, he stays. Yeah, fair point. Kingy, that's the players rather than the manager, though. And I'm sure he'll be rollicking them watching it back. Yeah, he was noticeably angry sort of post-game. Hello, Danny. James Reed, can you see the Nero sticking with Cook with the money he had spent? I don't think so.
Look, put it this way, right? Let's do the analogy. You're in a marriage or in a relationship, and you have an argument.
Here we go.
And it's not quite going right. What do? You sit back, you assess to see where things not quite going right, and you try and do something about it. But the very first thing you have to do to solve a problem is to acknowledge that it exists. It's simple stuff. You have to acknowledge it exists. And yes, we're 2 games in. I get it. And we're 2 games into the new squad. So you could argue that we're actually 24 games in, wherever it is. But yes, we're 2 games in. But the league waits for no one. And at the end of the season, I just don't want to look back and think, damn, we could have done that. And how long is it going to take to judge? I'm only coming because I really like the guy. I want to succeed and I want to do it with Cook. I don't know who would replace him. We're not going to get rid of him all season. I know that. And I don't have the answer. He just needs to start winning the games now. He's got to win a freaking game. And every game he doesn't do it, the noise gets a little bit louder, and a little bit louder, and a little bit louder. It comes from a place of love, not from one of hate or replacement.
I'll tell you
Please win tomorrow.
At the weekend, Trinity Red Devils 7-0. They were our wildcard team in the Prediction League. The Prediction League is now active. Links incoming in the chat. This is one of their goals, Tom. Have a look. It's a finishing half, that, isn't it? I mean, it's
nice.
It's high press, plays it into the striker, and then unselfishly just rolls it across, touch and hit. Great goal. Great.
I didn't know
goal.
Wolfie played for 2 teams.
I don't know. I think he was a step up, personally.
You killed it there. Right. This week's wildcard is Stowmarket Town versus Whittam Town in the FA Cup preliminary. And we've got Ipswich MK Dons, Man City versus Norwich. Ben, give me a score prediction for that one.
Oh, it's got to be 4-1 to Man City. I think Norwich will score their 1 because I like their front line, but 4-1.
Burton Cambridge, or was it Cambridge Burton? That was the old age question yesterday in the show. I don't think it really matters, but apparently to some it does. Oldham versus Colchester. Will Colchester score a goal? That's probably what we should be trying to predict there, Tom, because at the moment they've yet to find the net.
Oh, have they? Honestly, I've not given a hoot.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised?
With all that attacking talent they got from us.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. We've been looking at the fantasy lineup to see what team names you've been putting in. And Tom, you've come up with 2 fantasy names that have made you giggle like a little piglet. What have you got?
Right. Orlando Helas, Catfish and the Spurs.
Catfish and the Spurs. I don't know. I thought there were better ones in the league, but what made that? What particularly about the Catfish and the Spurs made it laugh?
Well, it was just that the split second, Spurs. It's just been Spursy. It's great. I just found it funny, even though they beat City, but oh well.
City.
Absolutely stupid one by Tony Lown. Onion Mings. There's about 8 or 9 Tyrone Mings or Allardyce ones in there that are quite similar. And they're quite funny, but Onion Mings I thought was quite funny.
Onion Mings was quite a good one.
But yeah, my favourite one was by Craig Edwards, and it's Delia's Mash is crap. That just got me. I love that one.
It is fair. I can't comment. I've not had her mash. But we've got Scugless in there, courtesy of Mark Tuxford. We've got Tony or not Tony, courtesy of Stuart. That's quite a good one. Tony or not Tony? That's the question to be. We got Plum United from Andrew Plum. I mean, that's quite a traditional one. That one. I like that. I do like it. Gangsters Allardyce, Ben, from Bradley Curtis.
Oh, love that. Gangsters. Oh, look at that. Some clever people out there. We got some good fans.
It's strong, isn't it? It's strong. Right. You can still enter that. You can still enter that whenever you would wish to. There is a link in the chat, in the description, on Twitter. Head to all of there to find out. Right. Cheltenham. We have got a Cheltenham news reporter joining us very soon. Let's get our little bits and bobs in first. How do you see this or tomorrow night going? I'll start with you, Tom. This is your lineup. Hladky, Burns, Danasian, Burgess, Coulson, Harper, Evans, Barry, Fraser, Edwards, and Bond. You've talked to us about a few of those already tonight. Let's talk about Bond, Macaulay, up the top, not Joe Pigott. What you thinking behind that one?
I think he just needs a chance, just a chance to start the game, Pigott a chance to come off the bench, just to change the dynamic up a little bit and just see what they can both do in those respective roles. Because we've lost Norwood as kind of that battering ram, I guess, but we just need just to see what they're all about, really. And I think Cheltenham's a good test to try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Bon. I think he played well against Newport in the Channel's last man. Who have you got playing behind him? Have you got Fraser in the 10?
Fraser in the 10. It's almost as logic dictates it. But yeah, and then like I said earlier, Edwards, I think he's got to start, and I think I'd like to see Barry over on the right, see what he can do there. I've put Burns in. I don't know if he's fit, to be honest, but I just want to give KBY a rest. If not, he'll probably play at right back. But yeah, I think that front four should do enough damage. But it's whether we've got them all fit or not, but we'll find out tomorrow.
This is it. Ben, Barry, out wide for Tom. Would you agree with that without saying your team just yet? Because obviously you saw the game back on Saturday. I don't know what format you saw it.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's this one is good for another. Mine was Burns, but I think Barry, it comes with this massive amount of promise, and maybe there is something to be said for. I thought it was quite quiet, but again, young kid, bags of potential. He genuinely needs 10 games, I think, to do really well. So I think that's a fair shout. It's interchangeable. It's we don't know yet.
It is. Cruncher, feed the pig and he will bring home the bacon. Funny that, because I think Cruncher will be sleeping on the sofa because it's his missus' birthday and he's been here the whole show. We love the commitment. But
get back upstairs, Crunch, for goodness sakes. Yeah.
They live in a bungalow. Ben Moore, Bon. I don't know if they do. Bond, better movement and holds it. Piggott drops too deep. Fraser's got to get between the lines of the defence and play with Bond. Barry moves central too often, hug the touchline. I should have actually noted beforehand that you can watch the highlights of Trinity Red Devils from Saturday and any game they play on their YouTube, links in the description. Thanks, Scott, for the clip. Ben, your team, you've also gone for Bon up front. You've gone for Edwards out wide on the left. You've gone for Coulson out wide on the left. So a whole new left side. Talk to me about the new left side, please.
Pace and positioning. Coulson and Edwards hold their position really well, and they keep more advanced, I think. Cook wants to play from the wings, flying wing backs coming out, going in. And they're the two, from what I've seen so far, they're very limited amount. They're the two players I think are best to do it. I think they keep hold of the ball a little bit longer, and which is really important, that last third of the match when you actually want to run at the opposition's defences. So that's me playing Paul Cook's system, the one I think he's trying to play, which is fast down the wings, avoid the middle, cutting on the last third of the pitch. So, but again, it's interchangeable. There's so much we don't know about these players that, someone could give me something different. You could actually say, yeah, okay, fair enough. Go back to what I said again. I can't remember what it was.
Sorry. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so Fraser in that number 10, that's his proper position playing there. And Bon up front, Bon I liked. Newport I thought was really, really good. Piggott needs to play as part of a 2, I think, to get the best out of him and the person he's with. So yeah, I think I don't know much about Cheltenham, if I'm honest, but I'm getting to know a little bit about us. And that's kind of where I'm thinking, if you're going to play that system, pace and keeping the ball down the wings and being able to run with it rather than cutting in too early. And off the little bit I've seen, that's who I think would do it. So yeah.
I would say, Ben, I think Beep's kind of sort of spot on here. It's not the wide men that have the touchline, it's the fullback's job. And I think Cookie wants them to come in a little bit and create that space. That said, Edwards is a pacey option. Kingy's picked up on a good point here. No Harper, Ben. So you've got your midfield 2. Is Carroll already with Evans? Talk to us about that one.
Why not? Because it hasn't worked so far. I think just stay with it. Stay with it. See what happens. Look, if we're going to be going all that for relationships, then you've got to keep some players in there to actually kind of build them. But important for me in front of Evans and Carroll is Fraser in front of them. He's so integral, I think, to a really good side because he is that link between Bon and Carroll and Evans, but behind him. Those three working in a little diamond in the middle, I think, are going to be absolutely fantastic. But of course, behind them, we just don't know what, we've got a new centre back. We don't know who the other one's going to be. But I don't know, just, if you're going to make relationships, build them, build them, see what happens.
Yeah, nice pick up there, because obviously Ben has said it's about relationships. Harper, Evans growing that, Burns, KBY getting there, Bon and Piggott can do that. Up top it together if needed. Fraser
together. Yeah,
rip it up. Right.
Yeah.
Gonna drop in a quick word from one of our partners, Away Day Beers. Please do support these local firms such as AwayDayBeers.com because they're local. It's run by a town fan, And if you do love your real ale like I do, then you're going to love away day beers. After that, we've got John Palmer from the Cheltenham contingent coming in to get your questions ready. Any Cheltenham knowledge you're after, he will help you provide that. First of all, here is away day beers. Liquid football is what we want to play. We've not quite seen it yet, but here is John from Cheltenham. John, welcome in. Thank you for joining us on a Monday evening. I hope you're well. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for inviting me on. It's good to see you all.
No, it's
good to see you, man.
It really is. Obviously, Cheltenham new in the league, having just won promotion from League Two. First of all, how was last season for Cheltenham? Obviously,
yeah, last season I think it was better than anyone imagined in terms of winning the league, but it was a bizarre one where, as a journalist, I was lucky enough to be there, but every game, Cheltenham were winning pretty much every week. We were coming away thinking, feels a bit pointless at the moment, without any fans there. It was a weird one. It was very mixed feelings, but there was a nice celebration after the game that clinched promotion with fans sort of gathered outside the car park. So at least they got to see the team. But it was a weird one. It's a great achievement to win the league for the first time. But Cheltenham have been in League One before, but they never won the title. League Two title before. But it was just a real shame that they had the Man City game in the FA Cup, nobody there to see it, and won the league. And a lot of fans having to watch on iFollow. But probably the best way to welcome them back is in a higher division. So that was a good way to do it.
Absolutely, it rewards them with ties such as the one they're going to be having tomorrow night. I know it's a bit, they're my own club, Ipswich, but we are a fairly big team at this level, if not one of the biggest. I should have introduced you the proper way, John, and I do apologise. You are, of course, a sports journalist for quite a few publications. We've got the Gloucestershire Live, we've got the Western Daily, we've got the PA Sport, the Football League paper. Anybody else that you write for, John? Because that's already quite
busy man.
Yeah, it's mainly Gloucestershire Live. That's my sort of day-to-day stuff. But I do the Football League paper reports for home games. So I'll be doing that at weekends. Tomorrow night I'll be doing the PA. So the little report you see on BBC Sport, Sky Sports app, that'll be written by me tomorrow night. So I'm hoping for a decent one to write about.
That's great.
Wow.
Hopefully you'll be lamenting a terrible defeat by the giants of the division. We hope.
I've been tipping Ipswich for the title. Everyone who's asked me the last few weeks, I've been tipping Ipswich for the title. So I want them to click into gear, but hopefully not tomorrow.
Don't put your mortgage on it, for Christ's sakes.
I always say I'm different. I think you probably should put your mortgage on it. I think we're going to be. First of all, Cheltenham, obviously, promotion. Was there a lot of turnover with playing staff, as a lot of teams in this division seems to have, or have you managed to keep a large contingent of that playing squad together?
Yeah, Michael Duff's done well because he's kept all of the key men from last season. All the permanent signings that were regulars last season are still there. A couple of loans have gone. He's managed to get one of them back. It's just Callum Wright from Leicester, who did very well last season. He's come back and started well again this time. So all the sort of senior players that did well to get Cheltenham promoted are still there. So there hasn't been a big turnover at all. There's been 6 new signings, 2 of which on loan. Sort of 2 youngish loans, 1 young lad from a non-league club that's been loaned straight back out again. So there's only really 3 probably senior players that will be in and around the team. So it's very lot of stability.
Who was your forward? Was it Vassell you signed, I think, a few days ago?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Carl Vassell. He was the sort of the number 9 they've been looking for. If you look at his career, he's done pretty well. He's obviously played in the Championship, played in League One. He's not quite match fit at the moment. He hasn't started a game yet. He's come on in the last 2. There's a chance he might start tomorrow night. He's not got 90 minutes in him, Michael Duff said this morning, but I think he'll be involved. He's already got off the mark in the cup against Bristol Rovers within about 5 minutes of going on for his debut. So he looks good, but he's got to build up to match fitness because he didn't have a pre-season anywhere because he was without a club. He was due to go to America and it fell through. So Cheltenham have stolen in. But when he gets up to full sharpness, he should be decent in League One.
Dominic Mann, ignore Ben. John, take what he said with a pinch of salt. Better way for Ipswich to win. There you go. That says that here. Obviously, so far this year, you have Saturday wasn't a great result for yourselves. You got beat 3-1 at home by Wycombe, who have just come down from the Championship. But your opening day was a 1-1 draw with Crewe. How have the first 2 games gone as an overall?
Yeah, overall, I think they've both been pretty close games. Crewe, I think if either team was going to nick it, it was going to be Cheltenham. It was quite a tight one. They had a couple of players missing, but I think Cheltenham probably edged it overall. And the Wycombe game, Wycombe were ruthless, and you can tell they're going to be up there this season. I think based on what what they did on Saturday. But at 1-1 early in the second half, Cheltenham had a couple of one-on-ones. It could have been very different if they put one of them away. And then the lads, Cheltenham very rarely have been opened up this season. So Crewe didn't really open them up. It was a mistake that led to the goal. Bristol Rovers in the Cup didn't have a sniff. And Wickham's second and third goal were both good strikes from the edge of the box that you've got to give 19-year-old lad who did it a lot of credit. But they weren't sort of overrun. They weren't outclassed, I wouldn't say. But you could also tell.
Where would you say, I mean, Ipswich, so we've not crossed paths for, I don't think, for a long time, if ever, but where can you hurt us tomorrow night? Where, we're a team in transition and we're still kind of finding that the gelling components, we've got a team of fantastic individuals, but we haven't gelled yet. So where could you exploit that tomorrow night potentially for a team that are gelled?
83 years, by the way, since Cheltenham played Ipswich, and they've been waiting 83 years to get that revenge for that defeat in 1938.
We still mention it now all the time, that 1938, then that World War II got in the way, bloody people.
But I think it's actually quite interesting what you said. So I think what Cheltenham will have, the advantage to have, is they are very united. They know each other very well. But I think one thing Ipswich will have to look out for is the long throw. So Ben Tozer, he caused Man City a lot of problems last season with the long throw. He had COVID during pre-season. He's a club captain. Due to COVID and his recovery, he's been on the bench for the first couple of games. I think he'll start tomorrow night. He can launch it. Probably one of the biggest throws I've ever seen, other than probably Rory Delap. He can pretty much get it to the far post. Cheltenham's pitch is very narrow, and they've got some big lads in the box. So they try and play football, but I think the Tozer throw will be one to look out for.
It's that good old fashioned kind of League One, League Two kind of you just get the ball in the box and hope you have kind of the height and the muscle to kind of poke over the line. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's something to look out for from Tozer. And I think just the familiarity. They've got a system they use, 3-5-2. They've been using it for the last two and a half seasons. It won't change. One of the midfielders is slightly more advanced, but it's always a back three, wing backs, two sitters, probably one in behind, and then two up front. That's what's worked for Duff the last couple of years. So,
and what can you, or based on what you've seen kind of this season so far? I know we're a couple of games in, and where could you say we could potentially hurt you? So, what do you look at and think? Oh, I'm a little bit worried there, a little bit concerned.
Yeah, Wickham's first was from a corner, which is quite unlike Cheltenham, but Sam Vokes, obviously, he's very good in the air.
Yeah,
he's going to be good for them this season. But if you've got a big target man, he showed that Cheltenham potentially got a weakness there, although they didn't really have last season. But everything's gone up a lot this season, and shots from the edge of the box didn't seem to close down quick enough. But in terms of the back five, they are very, very well organised, and like I said, they've not been opened up. They've not been overrun by anyone this season. So I think it might be set pieces, pot shots, long range strikes. But yeah, they're very well organised, Cheltenham. They're very hard working. People may be slightly worried about the amount of goals they're going to score. Hopefully Vassell can help with that. And Andy Williams has got 2 in 2 so far. 35-year-old striker who's done well in League One before. So hopefully the goals are there. But they're built on strong back five and goalkeeper, which Duff was a defender himself.
Right.
We've got Matt in the chat who's a Cheltenham and a Town fan, and he says, "I'm saying it now. Alfie May will make the most of any lapses in Town's defence." He's a big fan of Alfie May. Where are you on Alfie May, John?
Yeah, he's been good. He scored the goal against Man City. He's been dining out on that for a while, but he was good last season. Top scorer in all competitions last season. He did miss a couple of chances on Saturday. There's a chance that Vassell might come in for May. And play up front with Williams. I can't see Williams being left out after scoring in both league games so far. But it all depends on how fit Duff thinks Vassell is. But May is a live wire. He's not an orthodox striker. He's a nightmare to play against. He buzzes around. He's small. He's quick. He pops up in the box. He tries things. Sometimes he's frustrating. Sometimes he pulls off brilliant. But Williams is more of a sort of traditional, hard-working number 9. May will just buzz around and could cause some problems.
Yeah, we hate those players. We've just been spent the show talking about our defence and how they're quite kind of lacklustre. They're quite kind of slow. We've just literally bought a player in yesterday, and he's been stuck straight in the first team, and the manager said it. So that's how worried we are about our defence against players who are really kind of quick like that. So
we know him well. He played for Cheltenham when he was 20. Cameron Burgess, and he was very good on loan from Fulham. And you could tell he was going to be a very good player. That was National League, and he played the second half of the season. Cheltenham won the league, 101 points. He didn't put a foot wrong. He was covering for the club captain who was injured, really experienced defender called Aaron Downs, and you could tell he's played for a few clubs against Cheltenham since then, but you could tell he was going to be very good. I think you got yourself a very good defender there in Cameron Burgess.
Good to hear.
You were saying that long shots and set pieces might be the way in for us. So are there any particular weaknesses in your team where you might be targeting to get those, or to get past players to get those shots in, or to win those fouls or free kicks?
Yeah, something else that could be a potential weakness is over elaborate playing out from the back. That's something else that Cheltenham have been caught out. But in terms of set pieces, Cheltenham are a big side, and the defender that was marking Vokes was tight to him, and he's a big lad and he's very good in the air, but Vokes was just so strong. He just couldn't stop him heading it over the line from close range. So they're normally pretty solid, but I just think everything... We thought Chris Hussey was a good set piece deliverer last season in League Two, but Jacobson for Wickham on Saturday was unreal. I think everything's just going to be upper level. Ipswich are one of those teams that Cheltenham probably think are going to be in the league within a league that Cheltenham can't really break into. Cheltenham need to beat the teams like, although Morecambe have had a good start, Morecambe, Cambridge, Accrington, Shrewsbury maybe. The teams that they've played a lot of times in League Two over the years. I think Ipswich should be a long way ahead of Cheltenham. It feels like a cup tie for Cheltenham, really, this.
So what? Maybe final question. What would be a good finish for you this season? What would be a really kind of, we're satisfied with that. That's progress. That's good.
I think every Cheltenham fan would take 16th because the highest finish they've ever had before is 17th in League One. So 16th or above would be a new bit of history for Duff. And keeping Michael Duff is another big result because he's going to be sought after with what he's done at Cheltenham. So if we can keep him at the club to the end of the season and stay up, that would be a pleasing outcome, I think.
But in reality, you'd take where you are right now, right? 20th.
Yeah, I think. I think anything survival would be good. Anything above 17th would be a great achievement. But yeah, I'd take survival. I think most Cheltenham fans would be happy just to stay up there and hopefully give it another go next season because Cheltenham aren't a big club in League Two. So to be in League One, they've done brilliantly to get there. It's exciting playing against the likes of Ipswich and the other big boys in there, but they've got a lot to sort of get used to. I think at the level, it's going to be. There's going to be some beatings. There's going to be some bad runs, but I think Duff will keep them together. Hopefully, it can stay out of the bottom four. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good luck.
Lee Anderson says, sounds like we're in for a long ball battering. Large players, narrow pitch. Is that a fair reflection?
Well, they are a big side and they do launch it in the box from long throws. But I'm not just saying it. They do try and play some nice football as well. So they've got that side to them. But they definitely take every opportunity to launch the long throws into the box. If Tozer starts, that will be a major thing that Ipswich have to deal with. But they do try and play some nice football. Callum Wright, who's on loan from Leicester, is a really good footballer. He's one to look out for, an attacking midfield role. But yeah, I think as I said, Burgess will be good. Is Burns injured? Did I hear you say?
He had he was out on Saturday through injury. We don't know the status of him now. I'd imagine Tuesday may come too quickly for him, but I don't know for sure.
Yep.
But it sounds like pace is going to hurt you a little bit, being a big side. So
yeah, I mean Burns is another one. The only other player in the squad that's played for Cheltenham. He played on loan from Bristol City when he was a very young lad, but he played up front then. But I think he plays more. Does he play more wide now? Maybe even full back today.
Right side. Yeah.
But very very good player. And it'd be good to see those two, and obviously good move for Burgess. And I think he's the sort of player that could help you, challenge or be up there this season. But Duff said this morning, he said if Ipswich aren't in the top two, they'll definitely be in the top six. And everyone's been speaking very favorably about Cook. So
yeah, well, we thought that last 2 years we finished 9th. So well, we ain't counting no chickens, but we certainly are expecting with the new ownership and the investment. So as we round up the show, I'll ask all three of you, but I'll start with yourself, John. Score prediction for tomorrow. I know you'll be biased. That's fine. But what's your score prediction for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think because Cheltenham have started off with a draw and a defeat, I think they will be quite cagey tomorrow. I think, and playing against a team of Ipswich's size, I think Cheltenham will be try and make themselves difficult breakdown. I'm going to go for a 0-0 or I'll go 1-1 with goals from set pieces. I think 1-1, quite a tight one. But Cheltenham happy to sort of sit back and try and absorb the pressure.
It's interesting, that score, because I do a post-game show where we have fans calling in like we have done throughout the show tonight, and I wonder what the room will be like if that is the score. I don't know. Ben?
I agree with you, actually. I think it'll be tight tomorrow. I think you've got a kind of a flair team, wings, pace. skill and all that, but against a real kind of, hard battling, tall players. I'm going for a 2-1 Town win because I like to think that maybe the quality of some of our better players will come through. But I think it'll be a tight 2-1, a really tight, hard-fought, trenchy kind of game. So I'm going to go 2-1 Town.
If it is John's 1-1, how will you react, Bing? I know you're, on the 8-game Paul Cook run. So how would you react post-game?
Win the next one. Same as I react to every game you don't win. Just win the next one.
But how are you looking at Paul Cook?
Time moves fast for all of us, and it doesn't move not fast for Cook. So if you're not going to win tomorrow, win the next one. I just wonder how many times we can say that before, people start to worry a bit.
Okay, TJ, you've heard the two jet chaps there. What are you saying?
I'm less confident after this conversation now, but
we knocked the wind out of you. Oh,
yeah,
God.
It has. Yeah, I need a drink after that.
An away day one.
Drubbing.
They get an away day beers one if you're going to drink, all right?
Yeah, there's one in the fridge. We'll be all right.
Good man. There we go.
I was going to say 1-0 Town, and I'll stick with that. I won't go for 1-0. I'm going to say 1-0 Town, but it will be not a great game to watch.
Well, no, it's not. It's going to be away from home. It's going to be a scrappy affair. Cheltenham are fighting for their lives.
And don't underestimate a gelled team that know each other. That's the one thing we're missing of all of our talent and all the money and all the stuff. The one thing we're missing is that cohesion, and we see it every week, and it's why we're losing games like every week. So we've got to every week to get this in, but it's why we haven't done well yet. So don't underestimate a really cohesioned, well-oiled team that know each other well. They're hard teams to play against at any level.
And I haven't listened to you, John. I really hope you go on to have a fantastic season because you sound like you've got those little bit of elements that we had under McCarthy, where other people are going to look at you and maybe look down their nose at you, rightly or wrongly, and you're going to be, Cheltenham versus the world. We've got a big team. We play this way, don't play that way. We had that under McCarthy when we made the playoff in the championship. Everyone viewed us as playing one way, and we were bully boys and all of this. So I hear the different sort of elements that you've got there. So I hope you do well, actually.
Good luck to you.
Did Varney play in that playoff for Ipswich that year?
Reg Varney. I think he might have done, actually.
Luke Varney.
Another one that Matt Stanley there will know very well. He had a couple of years at Cheltenham. He was a big part in sort of turning them in from relegation team to challenging for promotion. So he's very popular at Cheltenham, Luke Varney.
He's not very popular with me, that's for sure. I'm not a huge Reg fan, but I think he did. He was okay. He was towards the end of his time. He was a big sort of signing that Evans would make when Evans was chairman. A player that was good for a couple of years, looking to refine the form, and it was always a gamble whether he'd find it. Darryl Murphy did find it. Reg Varney somewhat didn't. There you go. Cruncher got injured in the first leg. There we go. Right, we're done. John, thank you. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Hopefully the game, you'll enjoy the rest of the season, just not tomorrow night. Matt, TJ and Ben, thank you both so much for your time. We are back tomorrow, 7:15 for the matchday ticket. Don't forget to support us on Ko-Fi and join us tomorrow live. But until then, come on, you guys.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better.